Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Dreaming Myriad. Posted November 10th, 2014 to r/relationships. My 26 female, brother 22 male, and his fiancé of nearly 2 years, 21 female, are planning a wedding. That is an etiquette nightmare, and I'm not sure how to handle it. This is going to be a wall of text, so I apologize in advance. My 22-year-old brother, Andrew, and his 21-year-old fiancée, Christy, have been planning their wedding for over a year now. The date is set for April 25th of 2015. Initially, she had asked to be a bridesmaid, but after she also wanted my daughter to be a flower girl, my husband to be a groomsman, me to do her makeup and engagement photos as a gift to her, and help with details the day of, I felt it was too much on one plate. Also, quite frankly, I can't afford her very specific dress. Floor-length ball gown, which she still has not selected, specific shoes, a tux for my hubby, a flower girl dress for my daughter, high-quality makeup in her skin tone, and over $500 in photo sittings and editing. It's just too much time and money that I don't have. I sat her and my brother down and gently let them know that I wouldn't be a bridesmaid, though I was honored she chose me, because I didn't think I'd be a good bridesmaid with so much on my plate. They seemed sad, but took it well, and until recently, had no further problems. Fast forward to this past weekend. They came over for dinner and talked with me and my mom about their wedding plans. I'm just going to sum those ideas up here. They want to have their ceremony outside. We mentioned that it would almost certainly be freezing. On the same date this year, it was 30 degrees with a 15-mile-per-hour icy wind and ice rain later in the day. Christy's response was, "Well, I should be warm in my dress, it's pretty heavy." They have a venue that has plenty of indoor area, so they can get married there in worst-case scenario, but they basically have said, unless it's snowing or pissing rain, it'll be outside. I'm sure her bridesmaids in their strapless dresses and flip-flops or slippers will love that. As for my 1-year-old daughter, I'm not forcing her to stay out in the cold like that in a T-length dress with no sleeves. I don't know how to politely say, I'm not torturing my daughter or risking her becoming ill because you want a spring wedding in a wintry month. As for the date, they refuse to change it. They've told us that April 20th has no significance, it's not an anniversary, and has nothing to do with their relationship. But they will not change it, even though we've gently mentioned, hey, May should be much warmer and would definitely make it easier for an outdoor wedding, especially for your guests. Their response is that April 25th is the date, period, and the guests don't matter because it's their day. Okay, fine, whatever. We'll bundle up, I guess. Their plan is to have the ceremony under a gazebo-type structure. A very old family friend got some online thing from some vague church so he could marry people. He loves it. We've all known him since we were young, and he offered to officiate my wedding and wrote a wonderful ceremony for a hand fasting for my mom and dad's 25th anniversary/vow renewal, all completely for free. Andrew asked said family friend to officiate, and he accepted. Last night, we told Christy and Andrew it's getting closer, so they need to meet up with the officiant so he can do an interview. They both asked, why? We explained that the officiant was a close family friend. That's why they asked him to do it. And he likes to get a feel for both of you and your relationship so he can officiate a beautiful ceremony. They don't want that. They just want a general, do you? Do you? You're now married. Okay, that seems to defeat the purpose of a personal family friend performing it, but if that's what they want... Anyway. Then we asked what they were going to give the officiant for a gift. They both said nothing. No gift. Why do they need to give him a gift? They're also not paying him, as he's doing it for free. At this point, my mom and I are afraid to hear more. But we need to know what's going on. So after the ceremony, their plan is to go to a wedding luncheon. With the wedding party only. That would include his parents, her parents, me and the hubby, her bridesmaids, his groomsmen, and the flower girl/ring bearer. This would exclude the officiant and all the other guests, including her brothers and sisters, as well as my sister and brother. At this point, all the other guests would be told to get lunch, and I quote, wherever, and we'll meet back here in a couple hours. At this wedding luncheon at a restaurant in the next town over that's about 20 minutes away, we're all supposed to foot our own bill. Then we drive back, and we, as in my family, including the ones not invited to the luncheon, set up the decor and everything else for the reception because Andrew and Christy will be getting ready. After we get everything taken care of, there will be cake cutting and dancing, and then the end on the wedding. No food, snacks, nibbles, cocktails, nothing like that will be provided during the course of this wedding. Andrew also dropped the bomb that my grandmother, my father's mom, would not be invited because she didn't remember who Christy was at my daughter's first birthday last month. The backstory on that? I don't know. Let's start with the fact that she's 80. Then let's go on to the fact that she's met Christy once, and only once, almost 2 years ago. Lastly, my grandma had 9 kids. Those 9 kids married. They all had a minimum of 4 children. Many of those children are now married and have children. My grandmother has over 65 grandchildren. I don't even know the exact number. I stopped keeping track years ago. About 10 of which have recently or are about to get married. She's 80. She has a hard enough time keeping track of how many people are in her family, never mind what their names are. It was absolutely nothing personal that she didn't know Christy's name. She just forgot. It's been 2 years, for Christ's sake. So despite her being the only living grandparent we have left, and despite her driving the hour here to make it to Andrew's school performances and sending birthday cards every year without fail to her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, Andrew included, she's now not to be invited. I know this is ranty, but all this plain bald-faced rudeness is flooring me, and I don't know how to handle it. My dad, once we told him his mom wouldn't be invited, was not only hurt, but angry. He said he will not go if his mom is not invited. Andrew is insisting on not inviting any of the others from that side of the family, and with such high numbers, I can understand, but at least inviting Grandma would be polite, not to mention loving. My sister, my mom, and I put together a wedding planning book for them ages ago and gave it to them. It had tips for a small budget, etiquette, timelines, checklists, and a breakdown of what a basic wedding should have. We got info from multiple sources and spent the time collecting and printing it. But it's completely obvious they haven't looked at it at all. It's like they want this big and beautiful wedding, but they pick out anything that costs them money or means they have to work. Gifts for people who do us favors? Nah! Big princess wedding dress? Check. Supplying food and refreshment of some kind? Meh! They can go get Taco Bell or something. Exquisite floor-length gowns with exact matching specified cut and color for wedding party? Check. Paying for said gowns? Nah, too expensive for us. I'm sure everyone else can afford it. Am I being over the top? Is it just me, or is this really ridiculous wedding behavior? I've been to maybe 6 weddings in my life, attended in 3, fully planned 1, and have helped plan another. I am all for modern weddings where you throw the whole bride's family pays for this, groom's family pays for that out the window. But typically that cost shouldn't rest on your wedding party guests and pretty much anyone that isn't you. How do I explain to them the things that won't fly? I'm not freezing my infant because they're stubborn, and I'm certainly not going to pay for tux, baby dress, makeup, dinner for me and my hubby, and play pack mule to set up and take down their entire reception center. I don't care who you are. It's ridiculous and asking too much. Not that they asked if we could set up. They told us we would. I don't want to ruin their day. I want it to go well. I want everyone to enjoy themselves. But I can't force them to plan better. That's on them. So my question is how to handle it. Christy is super sensitive and takes literally any criticism as a personal attack, so I want to go delicately here. Also, Christy and I work together, so achieving peace here is very important. Edit fixed wedding date 4/25, not 4/20. Too long didn't read, my brother's wedding plans lack tact and etiquette and is costing my small family a hefty sum. I could handle that if they didn't also expect us to do 100% of the footwork to set up and take down their wedding. They're stepping on toes left and right. How do I tell them they're asking and telling way too much? Mini update. I sincerely appreciate all of you taking the time to weigh in and offer advice. Just knowing that I'm not the only one thinking this is rude and crazy helps. After talking to my parents and showing them this thread, they decided to talk to Andrew this weekend about a select few things. They should put that they're not serving any food or refreshments on the invite so people know they won't be fed, as this isn't typical for a wedding. Grandma really should be invited. The officiant, since he is an old friend and is doing it for free, needs a gift. As for me, I'm going to set some boundaries with this wedding, mainly with what I will and won't do and how my daughter will be kept warm during the wedding. I will post a real update on the convo with my brother after it happens. Thanks again, everyone. Update 1, November 14th, 2014, 4 days later. So, Christy actually texted my mom in a panic on Tuesday night because her mom had added some names she didn't know to the guest list of her side of the family. My mom just told her that she should help her and had her come over to talk. Christy brought over her wedding planning book and sat down with me and my mom. My mom asked her about the wedding plans, confirming that they intended to have no meal, that all the wedding party would pay for their own meal, etc. Christy confirmed. My mom, the saint of offering constructive criticism in the nicest way possible, said to Christy, I worry about this plan potentially hurting feelings on your family's side as well. Do you mind if I explain why I think that? Christy was pretty receptive. She said she didn't want anyone to have their feelings hurt and asked what was offensive. My mom posed this rhetorical situation. I guess she got this idea from my sister. Quote, Okay, Christy, imagine your parents invited you over for Christmas. You drive the 3 hours to their house. You dress in your best Christmas sweater, and you show up with gifts. Everyone is happy to see you, and you hug and visit for a while. Your parents and some of your family then tell you that they're going to dinner. You can't come, but you can go to McDonald's or something. They let you know they'll be back in 2 hours, so just hang out in the yard or whatever. When they get back, they let you back in the house so you can watch them eat the Christmas cookies they made for themselves, open only their presents, and play some Christmas music. Once that's all done, they say, Thanks for coming, see you next year, and boot you out the door. Would your feelings be hurt? My mom is a funny and lighthearted storyteller, so at this point, Christy had laughed a couple times with a kind of sad note in there, and also said, Oh, several times as well. Christy spoke up and said she absolutely understood how that related to their current wedding plans. Seriously, it was like until that moment she could see literally nothing wrong with their plans. She explained that they pretty much only had the budget of $2,000 her parents were giving her to work with, and she was afraid a meal would cost too much. She also expressed frustration that Andrew didn't really help with the planning. He just kept saying, whatever you want, when she asked for his opinion. My mom and I explained that Andrew probably just wanted the day just the way she wants it because it's always stressed that it's the bride's day. We gave her some tips for engaging Andrew to really get his input. At this point, she had really broken down and we were able to see her a little more for what she is. A young and naive 21-year-old girl, granted with a bit of a passive aggression issue, in way over her head, running on little to no help with an event that she has no idea how to plan. After chit-chatting a little bit, we talked about different ways to pull off an affordable wedding. We pitched ideas, and she either said she loved it, she'd think about it, or no. She liked the idea of having a small ceremony with the 50 people they really wanted to be there, after which there would be a luncheon, provided by them this time. After that would be the reception, where the guests her mom added, and anyone else that wasn't really close to them, could come to celebrate. there would be a light refreshment for that. She's really not concerned about what the luncheon is, but would like to be as low cost as possible, but not tacky either. My mom, my sister, Christy, and I are going to brainstorm in the next few weeks and look at prices to see what we can find within their budget. Then we'll all get together and let Christy, and Andrew if he decides to join, decide which ideas she likes best for both the luncheon and the reception refreshment. Oh, and as for Grandma, when Christy handed over the guest list from Andrew, she was on there at the bottom. We hadn't talked about it, but he must have realized that Grandma deserved to be at his wedding. On my part, I mentioned to Christy I was worried about my little one in inclement weather, and she said they had decided they would plan on doing the ceremony indoors because it was likely the weather would be bad. She still wants to reserve the gazebo just in case it's nice, but she seems much more realistic about the weather situation now. I'm also going to buy grocery store makeup for her makeup for the wedding. Nice stuff, but not too pricey. And I've let her know that my hands will be full with the baby, so takedown and setup of decor and such will be next to impossible for me. Both my mother and I suggested requesting the help of their bridal party, groomsmen and bridesmaids, to help with the things that needed done the day of. She said she was sure that they would be willing to help, but that she'd ask. Many of them are young, single, and childless, so hopefully they'll be more able to help out. She also was asking about a bridal shower. One of her sisters had already volunteered to throw the dough party, but no one in her family had made mention or offered to throw her a bridal shower. So, my mom and I are talking about doing that. When I was almost married, I had 2 bridal showers, and people were offering to throw one for me left and right. I feel badly that her family is not doing that. All in all, I feel much more comfortable with what I've agreed to do for them, and I'm happy that we were able to help Christy. In the original thread, user half as cool as Han Solo mentioned that all their plans had been met with negativity. I think this caused them, especially Christy, to shut down and just say, "Screw everybody, this is our day." Really, they just don't know how to plan a wedding, and we all could see that. Rather than seeing that we wanted to help, I think they just heard the negativity of it. Sitting Christy down and explaining that we had some ideas that we thought could help and that we in no way wanted to force her to do anything she didn't like, well, it helped a lot. We let her know that she should say no if she hated an idea or if she felt we were getting too involved. We still think they need to plan their own wedding, but we've also become more approachable for help in this regard. No, we're not going to plan the wedding, but if they're stumped on something or want input, we've offered to help if we can. We'll see as time goes on whether they stick with it or if they fall back into the "we don't care about anyone else" mode. I still feel that they have a lot of growing up to do, and hopefully they can do it together and build a lasting relationship for the rest of their lives. Too Long Didn't Read talked to Christy about their wedding plans. Turns out she's just overwhelmed and has no idea what she's doing. She's now more open for input, trying to get Andrew involved in planning, and is more aware of what I am and am not willing to do for her wedding. Grandma is back on the guest list. Still worried about their immaturity, but wishing the best for them. An overall positive outcome. For now. Update 2. February 24th, 2015, 4 months later. So much has happened in these past 2 weeks. Last Sunday, Christy told Andrew she wanted to come over and talk with him and my mom. Andrew assumed it was about wedding stuff because they were getting only a couple months away from the wedding and they had not really done anything. So they get here and go talk in private with my mom. I was playing with the baby in the front room and I could hear yelling and arguing coming from the back room they were in. I was worried they were having a brawl back there, but just figured they'd work out whatever the hell was going on. Well, they both left, and my mom fills me in. Christy didn't want to talk wedding. She brought Andrew over to tell him, in front of my mom with no prior warning, that she wasn't sure if she wanted to marry him anymore. She wrote a list of 4 things to show my mom that Andrew is doing or has done wrong that she thought couldn't be resolved. My mom told her to keep her list to herself and that they needed to go to couples counseling. At this point, Andrew got really upset because he tried already to go to couples counseling with her 6 months ago but she didn't like it because it was awkward and I hate taking responsibility for stuff. I'd rather just blame someone else. Oh my God. For the record, that is not a joke or exaggeration. She literally said that out loud and didn't see a problem with it. Andrew also blew up because I guess when he had proposed to her, she had also been hinting at it and pushed for it. He basically asked her why she wanted him to ask her just so she could break it off 2 months before. Anyway, I obviously knew they were having issues and just kept my space. Even though Christy seemed to be trying to pull my mom into it, my mom agreed it was their business and told them to get into therapy ASAP if they wanted to stay together. My brother gets counseling free through work, so they went to 1 session last week. I don't know how that went. I didn't ask. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Thursday before Christy called off the wedding, she went on an all-day hike alone with an old friend. He had been out of state for the past 2 years, Mormon missionary, and she wanted to catch up. They spent the whole day together in the mountains alone, and she posted on Facebook about how awesome it was. It actually pissed off almost everyone close to her, even her sister, who thinks she does no wrong because she's been vocal in the past about how opposed she is to Andrew even talking to a member of the opposite sex. She would literally yell at him and harass him about talking to old friends who just happened to be female, or mentioning that he saw a friend in the grocery store and said hi. But no, it's okay for her to spend a whole day in the mountains with a dude. I bitched to my sister but said nothing. Until that Saturday, Valentine's, I asked Andrew what his plans were for the night, and he said, "Oh, Christy and her friend and I are going to dinner." Friend? He says, "Yeah, Zach, he just got back from a mission." It's the same guy. I asked him if he was only sharing his Valentine's Day dinner with another guy, and he basically said, "Yeah, they're friends, so I want to meet him, and he wants to meet me." I was shocked, really, but Andrew is trusting of her, so he's never been possessive like she's been with him. Next morning, Christy isn't sure if she wants to marry Andrew anymore. I work with Christy, for those who don't remember, and the next day she's telling people that her and Andrew haven't broken up yet. That it's just the wedding for now. The day after that, she chopped all of her hair off in this really strange and unflattering haircut. Again, this is a thing she would get after Andrew for. He's always enjoyed putting bright colors in his hair, and he wanted to be daring and do his whole head a muted navy blue. She told him no. But then it's okay for her to go chop her hair to 1 inch long in the back and maybe 3 inches in the front. The day after that was the therapy session. Andrew seemed optimistic. That weekend, this past one, Christy mentions at work that she's going to visit her mom for the weekend. Her mom has always disliked Andrew, and I figured her mom would talk her out of the relationship permanently, but my brother was so tortured at this point that I thought that might be for the best. Cue this morning. I asked Christy at work how her weekend went, and she says, "Not good. Andrew and I broke up." I just said I was sorry about that and went back to work because I was not expecting that response and didn't know what on earth to say to that. I had no idea that they broke up, so I was then worried about how my brother was doing. She then goes on to say this massive paragraph. But the rest of the weekend was okay. Me and Zach hung out until way late Saturday night just talking. He had his homecoming in the morning. He's the only person that really knows what's going on with me and Andrew. He was really nice and just listened to me. We were laughing because I found a gray hair in his hair, and he was totally freaking out. Then we went to the homecoming in the morning, of course. I only went for the main meeting, so then I went to his house and waited for him to get home from church, which was awkward because it was only his aunt and grandma there. But then we had the luncheon afterward and whatever, and it was fun. I was tired when I got home, so I took a nap. At this point, my work friend Alicia is just staring at me, waiting for my response. She looked at me like I was a grenade with the pin out. I couldn't even gather a thought or sentence to say, so Alicia pipes in and says, "I thought you were visiting your family this weekend." I was. That's who I stayed with. Alicia: "Well, did you even spend time with your family?" Well, I did talk with my mom on Saturday and stuff. But mainly it was about Zach's home thingy. Well, yeah. Christy continued to babble about various things, like now she was going to head to California because her friend had offered to fly her out there, but she couldn't go before because Andrew couldn't afford the airfare to go too. She was just so damn happy it made me sick. When her sister arrived at work, yeah, I work with 2 of these bitches, they talked about Christy moving in with her sister and when and how and all that jazz. I stepped out to call my mom and she told me immediately that she was helping Andrew move his stuff out of the apartment as we spoke. I told her to do it fast before Andrew changed his mind. My mom packed up all the wedding stuff Christy had not been coming over to work on and dropped it at our work once she'd finished helping Andrew. Like she literally dropped the box and shoved it towards Christy with her foot. I think my mom did not appreciate Christy's cheery, "Oh my God, hi!" that she had when my mom walked in the door. My mom was taking my sick little girl to the doc since I couldn't get time off work, so she came for the insurance card and left after. Christy and her sister went in the back room and tittered for a while after the unceremonious drop-off from my mom. How she's a horrible person and all that, I'm sure. I somehow remained calm through all this. I mean, I'm at work. This is personal shit, and I didn't want to talk about it in a professional place. But also, I'm so fucking relieved. Christy is messed up. Her whole family has narcissism issues, and I'm so glad my brother doesn't have to tolerate her constant criticism, gaslighting, and verbal abuse anymore. He's now back home, and he's doing so well, considering how fresh this all is. He told me he realized last week that it probably was over, but he wanted to give the therapy a shot. I think he also wised up about Zach. Near the end of my shift, I went to the bathroom. Thinking that urination somehow rendered me deaf while only being feet away, I heard Christy complaining that Andrew had just texted her and said, "So were you really staying with your parents or with someone else?" She was denying doing anything physical with this guy, but did admit she'd been spending all her time with him lately. She definitely lost her fucking weird peppy attitude after that text. I think because you can't play poor me when you're guilty of carrying on an emotional relationship with another person. Anyway, writing it all out gives me a peaceful feeling. I'm so heartbroken for Andrew, but he dodged a bullet. He wants to continue pursuing personal therapy through work so he can resolve the problems he felt he had in their relationship, thus avoiding them in the future relationship. I no longer have to tolerate a toxic person in my personal life, though I do have to tolerate her and her borderline demonic sister at work. However, I feel I can handle this by simply reminding them to keep their personal shit home and be professional at work. I'm pretty sure I can handle it if they start being disrespectful towards him or my family at work. Too long didn't read. They're not getting married and they broke up. Thank the fucking gods. Edit, accidentally used a real name. Don't particularly care if she sees this anymore, but for the sake of non-confusion, I fixed it. Edit 2, I completely forgot the guy's name, and the whole blackmail for kisses was Zach. I have no idea what that means. If anyone has context, please let me know. What makes this even more hilarious is that Zach is the only name I did not change. What a goddamn roller coaster. Good lord, we went from wedding that is an absolute nightmare and a complete slap in the face to everyone joining, including the 80-year-old grandmother who would just be happy to be there being excluded because she forgot one of like over 100 people's relationships. Then on top of that, we rode through and dealt with her coming to some kind of at least point of reason where she seemed like she was going in the right direction to suddenly everything just collapsing because like Zach showed up. But honestly, if my partner or if any of my friends ever said, like, I'd rather just blame someone else, I'm walking away from that. Like, I'm not dealing with that in my life. That is someone that I cannot be around or deal with because that is a recipe for so many problems down the line, and you're just better off not dealing with that kind of drama. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillars 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is user Throw RA Sad Girlfriend posted to r/relationship advice November 21st, 2021. My girlfriend, 32 female, has been very sad since she found out her ex-boyfriend is getting married. So I, 30 male, have been dating my girlfriend for about 4 months now. Everything was going great for us till she learned that her ex-boyfriend of 9 years was getting married. They had broken up in June last year, and we started dating in July this year. We have tons in common, and we really enjoy each other's company. Anyways, last week, one of her old friends who knew her ex informed my girlfriend that he was getting married to his new girlfriend. My girlfriend was shocked, to say the least, and when her friend left, she went on Facebook and spent almost an hour looking through his profile. Okay, he was a longtime boyfriend, so she must have been curious, but ever since that day, she has been really sad and stressed. She keeps spending her time on Facebook looking through everything about her ex and his bride-to-be. When I finally asked if he was the one who got away from her, she denied it. She said something along the lines of, "I want to see what's so special about her." She says she isn't pining for him. He didn't treat her well, and that even if he asked her, she wouldn't go back. In fact, he had reached out to her multiple times after breaking up, but she turned him down every time. So, Reddit, my question is this. If you don't love him still, then why be so sad about his marriage? Why keep obsessing over his bride-to-be? What am I missing here? Top comments, Blade982. He strung her along for 9 years and is marrying the girl he only recently met. That's probably where her sadness is coming from. Why wasn't she good enough to garner a commitment like marriage? What does this girl have that she doesn't? Not logical, but that's probably what's running through her mind. User spell scribe comments. Yeah, especially if it's a guy who tore down her self-esteem. User Revolutionary SyrixWE responds further. It was a huge part of her life for 9 years, so it's understandable that she's grieving. Not that her ex so efficiently moved on. 9 years with someone means you likely expected to spend the rest of your life together. It doesn't mean she wants back, but 1 year after a whole decade of your life, along with all hopes and emotional investment that it took, what she's going through is understandable. OP responds, "You might be right. I don't know the intricate details of their breakup, but she did say that they broke up because they couldn't agree on the future. And she's mentioned to me that she does want to be married and have kids. Putting these 2 points together, the situation might have been closer to what you describe, and to be honest, her ex did sound like a tool. He made 5 times her salary, but they always went 50-50 on all expenses. On our first date, I took her out to a fancy restaurant, which I also wanted to visit for a long time. We had a gala time, but the next day, she called me and apologized and then told me that she would only be able to pay her half of the meal in installments as she didn't have that much cash at the moment. It took me a moment to understand she was talking about the dinner last night. I told her that I invited her, so it was my treat. Then she told me that her ex-boyfriend made her transfer her share after every outing they had, all throughout their relationship. It was weird, to be honest, but I didn't probe much further as it was just after our first date. Oh, poor girl. I don't mean her socioeconomic status. Update. The next day, November 22nd, 2021. That would have been my 22nd birthday. So, I got a lot of advice in my last post. Thank you. Most of it was helpful, with a lot of commenters detailing their own personal and painful experiences with similar situations. It was an eye-opening experience for me, so a special thanks to those commenters. Some comments were regular Reddit advice to break up, and one of them even called me a cucumber? LOL. But all in all, making this post did really help me a lot in deciding how to approach this with my girlfriend. So now, let's get on with the actual update. After reading the comments and doing some thinking, I decided the best course of action is to talk to her. So I went to her favorite restaurant, got her favorite dish packed, and then went to her apartment. When she came out, I told her, "Look, I can't say I understand what you're going through because I don't. It's something personal to you, and as much as I would like to help you out or share some of your grief, I respect your choice and decisions. But as your boyfriend, I do have some rights here. And I am invoking that right and asking you that you not be hungry and sad. If you want to be sad, then please be sad on a full stomach filled with your favorite food. That's all I ask." Hearing this, she became emotional. Then she said, "I haven't been the best girlfriend in the world for the past week, and I apologize for that. It's just that it's been hard for me to see someone with whom I spent 9 years of my life and who gave me a lot of excuses. Now, he's just disregarding his own statements. Can you imagine anyone in a 9-year-old relationship where the couple don't live with each other or don't go on holidays together? They have absolutely no talk of getting engaged or married? Hell, he even got upset if I sent him a text while he was working. Well, me and my ex were like that. On top, he always used to say that marriage as an institution is archaic and he won't participate in it. Also, he looked down upon age gap relationships too. Now, he's marrying someone 8 years younger than him, and is already living with her and gone on holidays together too. That's why I've been feeling down. I don't want him back. I've already upgraded to a much higher level. She meant me. But it's just the feeling of wasting 9 years of my life, which is the most painful. So I gave her a hug and told her that if she wanted a shoulder to cry on or a mouth to talk shit about her ex, I can do both. So we both shared a laugh then. When I was leaving, she asked if she can stay with me for a few days as she doesn't want to be alone. I said sure. So she came with me, and right now she's setting up her workstation in my other bedroom while I'm making this update. She'll be staying with me the whole week. So thank you again, people. You have been of immense help. Oh, look at that. We have one batshit crazy relationship, and then on the other hand, we have an extremely healthy one. Absolutely nothing but brownie points for the boyfriend here. Buddy went and handled this just flawlessly. He accepted that she was going through some shit, but offered to be there for her in any way that she needed it. Hell, we even have, for once, most Redditors giving helpful advice. Also, if it's any consolation, almost 5 years later? 4 years later. Chances are he rushed into getting married because he wanted to try to prove something, that the last 9 years, it wasn't him holding his life back, it was her. So he jumps into marriage in a relationship that's probably not going to last too long, and, yeah. My guess would be is that with him making such a high salary, there might be other strings attached to that relationship that he's going to learn the hard way. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Bear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.